Hey, dear Tyler, good morning. And how are you doing? How have you been? How has the week been so far? I hope it's been good. I hope it's been great. Yeah, so I've been getting a lot of feedback about the last episode, Stranger of Love, and the feedback is amazing. It's mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. I find it quite humbling that a lot of people are going through quite a lot of things, right? In the sense that there's a self-perception that they have that literally dictates their actions, their belief system, and what they feel they're worthy of. A lot of times when I share these things, I know that maybe some other people go through it, but I'm not sure that people relate to it to this degree. So it's very, very humbling. It's very, very humbling. And very enlightening also for me. And also comforting in the sense that, okay, I know I'm not alone in this journey. And I'm also grateful that the vulnerability of the podcast makes it easy for us to be able to relate with it, right? So, I'm very particular about how the podcast is perceived, how I am perceived also, in the sense that I don't want it to be like a pity party for me, but my being vulnerable just helps to make it relatable, and it's working and it's good. So God will grant me grace to maintain my vulnerability. And for those of us that have reached out to me also being vulnerable, thank you so much for your trust and the likes, right? Yeah. Then again, I'm also grateful we've been getting more listens of late. It's very encouraging. It's very encouraging. I know a lot of times creatives like us, we come up with, things, and we come up with like slogans and but we're not so particular about the number, we just want some level of consistency. But I promise you, when the numbers increase, it's number one, encouraging. Number two, it's satisfying. It's satisfying. Thank you so much. I know a lot of you have shared this podcast with other people. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really envision it that it's going to be something global very soon. Something global that people would really, really, tune in on Mondays and Thursdays to be able to listen to what's happening, and maybe in the nearest future we'll even start doing video podcasts, yes, but I'm grateful for the growth, and I'm grateful for your contribution. And so yesterday I started a WhatsApp community group for Dear Tyler, and it's just a group, where I'll get to, post new episodes when they come out, the links and all, and then the graphic design, so that those of us that are part of the community can share. Then it's also an avenue where I'll talk about other projects that may be coming up. It's also an opportunity for you to share your stories directly on the platform. So maybe you have a story that you'd love to share, and maybe it's something that is encouraging, especially maybe after an episode, you feel like you've got something to contribute with other people in the community you could share. And then it's also a place of accountability, building accountability networks, where we put ourselves under some form of like an accountable structure. So that's the purpose for it for now, right? So the links would be on Dear Tyler Facebook page. I would post it there. I'll try and put it as a link on Instagram also, so that you'll be able to join the community. Yes, I think basically that's it. But if I'm not able to do that, what you could just do is send me a DM, right? So if you follow Dear Tyler on Instagram, then just send a DM with your number, and then the link will be sent to you directly, right? But I hope that the community would help us to spread the message and everything that happens in Dear Tyler. So thank you in anticipation, Tyler. Thank you. Now, this morning's topic, right, is it worth it? And if you take note of what I said, this July, I'm just kind of like being spontaneous, talking about things just in a spontaneous manner from the top of my head. So, I think a lot of times, to be honest, my thoughts and my topics come from Koinonia services, right? They come from Koinonia services. And maybe when I go for other ministrations, and during this particular Koinonia service, I was, contemplating quite a lot. I think I was sharing with a friend recently, and I said that during Koinonia services, especially Koinonia services, but then church services in general, my mind is like I have like extra lessons in the Spirit, and it's like, God just brings certain things to my attention, and then we have like little discussions, maybe like 30-second discussions, right? a 30-second discussion, and a lot just comes out of it. So this was one of those instances, right? This was one of those moments. I was beginning to weigh a lot of things that I was doing. From Dear Tyler, down to my music, down to my service in the house of God, down to, just quite a lot of things. Crafts, arts, general pursuits, a lot of things. And I realized that for a long period of time, I had this challenge of motivation, right? Motivation, because there are many times where I would want some certain results and then they do not come. So let me use Dear Tyler for instance, right? You can't imagine how it feels like, okay, you're doing something and then you're posting, especially when I, post the link on WhatsApp, and then you see like 200 and something people viewed it, right? And then I now come back, to check the number of listens for the day, and then you see like 2, or you see like 3 or something. And in my mind, I'm like, oh Lord, like what's the point? Like, remember, like I said, when I started this podcast, I said that deep within us, yes, we want the numbers, to rise. It means a lot when the numbers rise for us. Well, I can speak for myself. It means a lot when the numbers rise for me. And I really, really do want that. So, at a certain time, there was this time when we celebrated 1 year anniversary and all. I sent out a link for feedback and, contributions, and it was, like there was no response, little to no response. I asked for, contributions. Other times people don't really respond, and I found myself asking, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Engaged in a certain business, and somehow things didn't go well. And I found myself asking that same question, is it worth it? Being part of a community that's, you know, at certain times when you've invested so much into a particular organization and then the returns are so little, and you're really trying your best, to make amends or to bring a certain level of progress, but then at the end of the day, very little comes out of it, and then I'm just like, is it worth it? So there was this time during Koinonia rehearsal that I was like handling rehearsal that day, and I'd done everything within my power to make things work, help them with their harmonies, taught them, there was just a whole lot of distractions in the rehearsal that day. And coming for the next rehearsal, things just happened, and then I just found out like, is this, is it all worth it, when you invest so much and then you get so little out of it, right? So I've started, like I started asking myself all of those questions because, like I said, truly we always want some level of result, And while I was having those contemplations during the service, the thought came to me, is it worth it? And then the Spirit now reminded me of something that I always tell people, but somehow I had lost sight of it. I had streamlined it maybe to when I'm teaching people about music. The Spirit of God told me that the value of any endeavor is tied to the purpose to why you started it, or to the purpose to why you're engaging in it, right? Your value for anything, whatever endeavor it is, it's tied to the purpose that you attached to it. And so if what you're doing is not properly defined, if there's no purpose behind it, then there is no way to really, there's nothing that can inspire motivation for you, right? Nothing that can inspire motivation for you. So think about it. If the purpose behind, let's say, an endeavor that you're doing, let's say your singing was to blow, right? Your music career, the purpose behind it was for you to blow. The moment you don't have the crowd following you, people reposting your work, or making reference to your creative ability, or making reference to your contributions, it literally becomes frustrating. Now, is it a bad motive? No. Everybody has their own motive. But it's important that you're aware of it, because that would be your driving force. And so I had to ask myself, right? So I'm using Dear Tyler, for instance. It's like, okay, hey, Binga, why did you start Dear Tyler? Yes, I know you wanted people to listen, but what's the goal behind it? What's the purpose behind it? Are you actually achieving it with the things that you are doing? Are you gradually being distracted from the original purpose? Because when you first started, the zeal was there, you were making plans, posting here and there. Why? Because you so much believed in the purpose of it, and you, whenever you were recording any episode, whenever you were sharing it, your mind was more in line with the purpose attached to why it was created. So along the line, did it drift, right? Did your thoughts drift away from the purpose of why it was created? Your music, why do you write songs, Binga? Do you write songs because you want to be known as a songwriter, or the purpose behind it is because you wanted to communicate a certain idea? You wanted people to, you wanted to bring healing, hope, or whatever it is. Why did you start that business, right? It's not going well, yes, but why did you start it? Is it just for you to make money, or is there like a higher purpose attached to it? If there is no higher purpose attached to the endeavors that you are doing, then probably it's not worth it. If the things that we are doing cannot transcend our own personal benefit, then it may not be worth doing at all. Because once you're able to attach, or once you're able to create a universal benefit to your endeavors, then you would have something to fight for. You would have something to fight for. I had this vision, right? Vision, right? The physical vision, once, a long time ago. And, there were just impressions in my heart, about Jesus, the Garden of Gethsemane. I was there with him. And then at the cross, he was there. Do you understand? And so there were just like instances where he was being scourged and whipped. I was there, and while I was just meditating on what I had seen, the Spirit of God told me that it wasn't just because Jesus was strong, but he had me in mind. When he thought about what his sacrifice would do for me, it gave him the strength to carry on. It gave him the strength to carry on. And so I think it's one of those things, because he didn't just do it because he wanted to be glorified or something, or to have a whole lot of people end up worshiping him and honoring him and reverencing him. No, there was a higher purpose attached to his actions, and it transcended him, and it reached out to other people. And no matter the demotivating factor, remember he said this. He said, Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass over me. Then he said, but nevertheless, your will, not mine. It will be done, not mine. So, if you're asking that question, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? What you should be more concerned about is that, okay, did I define the purpose behind what I am doing? So when I teach people the guitar, I ask them, the first thing that they always write in their notebook is, why do you want to learn the guitar? And I said that don't write any other thing on that page. Whenever you come over to class, whenever I'm teaching you, use that particular book. The purpose for you writing it is so that whenever you maybe you have like you lose motivation, right? You could go back to it, and that would spur you up into continuing what you're doing. So it's the same thing. Redefine. If you need to redefine certain things, redefine them. It's okay to change the definition of certain things. So maybe you're doing a business for a certain reason that was not as, all-encompassing as it should be. And then you've now redefined it. I do need to be rich. I do need to be financially stable. So once you're able to identify or redefine all of these things, it helps you to stay within that track. Number two, the reason why defining the purpose behind anything is very, very important is that it kills competition. I think while I'm driving, I think I'm a speed junkie while driving. And there was this period, because I feel like I'm in the zone while I'm driving. I feel like I'm in control of what's going on. And I'm a pretty careful driver. So there was this period where I used to drive and I'd be like on 160 kilometers per hour. And I won't know. You're just moving. Rah. And anyway, I had to, tell myself that, okay, Chairman, you have to calm down. And you're not in a rush. And, sometimes there's this whole speed adrenaline stuff that happens when somebody passes you while driving. You just feel the need to be like, no, you want to exert your dominance on the road. Do you understand? You're the king of the highway at that time. But then I think I remember there's always this statement that my younger brother says. He says that when he drives, that he remembers that there is no restart race. So if I'm making a race out of a situation, it's not like a video game that if you crash, you could just restart and then they put you at your last checkpoint or something. You could literally die. Now, why am I saying this? Because it helped me to redefine a lot of things. I don't have to, if I see somebody speeding, right, on the road, there could be many reasons. It could be an emergency. The person could be late for something. Now I can't be like, Binga, I'm slow. No, we're not going the same place. We're not heading the same direction. Our purposes are different. Maybe the person has a meeting for 5 o'clock and the time is 4:30. Person is speeding. While me, my own meeting is by 7 o'clock. But I left early. For whatever reason, I left early. So you could see that I'm not, there's no need to be in a haste. Absolutely no need to be in a haste. And I think it's one of those things about Nigerians that is really, really tough or really, really amusing, because you'd see somebody like really trying to cut corners, trying to reach a certain destination, and at the end of the day, you may even reach your own destination before the person. Sometimes this whole rush sequence puts us in more trouble. Anyway, so like I said, that having a purpose for anything helps you to stop that circle of competition. Now, there are a whole lot of podcasts around the world. They have their own purposes attached to it, right? Now, because I have redefined, or I have defined what Dear Tyler stands for, when certain things are happening for other people's podcast, and maybe they're celebrating some particular pointers for them, I could celebrate with them, but I won't feel bad because my pointers are probably different. And so I am looking to make sure that what I have set out to do through Dear Tyler is what is being achieved at that time. I don't know if that makes sense. And so when you redefine everything that you do, redefine your music career, redefine your personal career, your working status, your ministry, your business, just redefine it. Like McDonald's says that they're not in the food industry, that they're in the real estate industry, and that's why they have franchises. Do you understand? So, or like Starbucks says that they're not in the food industry, they're in the community building industry, because they have like seats and places to have conversations at Starbucks. So that's their own definition, right? And so when other people are maybe trying to build more trying to build more different types of coffee or, cappuccinos and the rest, they're looking at how best to make their environment comfortable enough to accommodate people and make them stay longer, So they're like, the longer they stay, the more comfortable they are, the more they would buy our coffee. So their strategies are different, their goals are different, right? So when you are able to redefine things, when you're able to define or redefine certain things, right, it kills any form of competition. It kills any form of competition. So the definition of a thing, or bringing a purpose, a meaningful purpose out of a thing, it helps you to maintain focus and motivation, and then it also helps to remove competition. Then finally, what it also helps you to do is that it helps you to keep the integrity of whatever entity it is. Because a lot of times people can suggest what should be done from whatever endeavor that you are doing, right? Begin to do this, start doing this, move here, do this. No, but once you have your purpose aligned, you'll not be under pressure to conform and change so that you fit into a certain status quo. Do you understand, right? You fit into a certain status quo. So I have this friend of mine that she's into building up young men, right? It's called Men of Authority. And what she's strictly about the boy child, right? Strictly about the boy child. Now that's the purpose. Now, because it's very, very clear, not just the boy child, but then men in general, right? It's very, very clear. She hardly does things that has to do with women or anything. So I'm sure maybe people can come over and be like, spread it out and start doing the girl child. She's like, no, that I am out for the male, the men, the man child. Do you understand? I'm out for the males. I'm out for the boy child. That's my focus at that time. And so it helps to keep the integrity of what she is doing and what the organization stands for, right? So what is very, very important for each and every one of us, Tyler, to do is to define things. If you find yourself losing motivation, find out if your definition is all encompassing, if it helps, if it builds other people, right? If it transcends just blessing you and it blesses other people, right? So I really hope that this was a blessing, right? I hope that it blessed you mightily. And yeah, so this is me signing out. Remember, I love you, I believe in you, and I'm always rooting for you. Do have an awesome, awesome day. Bye.